Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Football Tailgaters podcast. We have Andy, who is our unbiased NFL fan. You have myself, I am your Jet fan. Today we have a lot to talk about into Zeke's pay cut contract, Derek Carr's visit, Bienemy's new offensive coordinator job, and a lot more. Let's get started with a lot of football to dive into today. So, our first topic of the day is Dallas Cowboys is asking Zeke for a massive pay cut. Do you think Zeke should take it or find another home?
I think it's all depends on the Dallas Cowboys. If he can take a massive pay cut, then why not keep him? He already knows the offense, and he does get those short yardages, so he's good on there. But right now, he has a cap hit of $16.7 million. So if they do cut him, it's a dead cap of $11.8 million. So if it goes maybe at least I don't know, below 10 million, I would think that would be a great win for the Cowboys, but it's going to be hard for Zeke to take that much off.
I don't know. I think it's time to rip the Band-Aid off on Zeke. It's time to let him go. I think you can build up an offense with Tony Pollard. He is a more dynamic back, and I feel like you can probably get the same production that Zeke provides from another running back that they probably have on the roster. So I don't know. I think at this point you're keeping them because of the name and, where they drafted him, but I think it's time for the Band-Aid to come off with the Cowboys. It's time to move on.
The problem that I see here is if they do trade him, I know they're going to keep Pollard, and their third running back, I don't think he's tremendously good. So who would they get to replace him? I know that there are some other running backs out there, but I don't see somebody to be able to come in and just take, I guess, just be the new Zeke in that offense. Let me say that with Zeke, he's a tremendous blocker. He actually helps Dak a lot to not get sacked. He picks up those blitzes like one of the best running backs. The only thing, and that's one of the differences with Pollard, that he does not pick the blitz up as good as Zeke. So that's it's kind of like having another offensive type of lineman just for a little bit, even though we saw that horrible play at the end of the season that they put Zeke as a center. That was just terrible. He had no chance. But for those blitzes that if the linebacker comes or a safety comes, he picks those up. So
that is good to have, but I'm sure you can find someone or a player that is able to do what Elliott can do. It's just time for the Zeke Elliott era to end. And I'm not saying he's not good or he's bad, but I think it's just time to build an offense around Tony Pollard. That's where I'm trying to go at, is build an offense against Tony Pollard and move away from the Zeke.
The only player that I think that can come in and do a great job, just like Zeke, is Kareem Hunt. I believe he's going to be a free agent, so I think he's a great choice. I know there's going to be some bigger names out there, but they're just going to be too expensive, like Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley. I think Saquon Barkley is going to re-sign, and Josh Jacobs is probably going to be paid too much money. Another one that's also pretty good is Jamal Williams. I know he's in Detroit right now. He was actually the best running back that Detroit had, so he's going to be expensive in my opinion.
It's because I don't know. I think you can still get any kind of production that's not Zeke, just a different person. There's no reason for him to keep him. His best days are behind him. Yes, he was a fantastic running back at one point. He made good decisions, but those days are gone. We're not going to see that Zeke anymore. It's like Mixon with the Bengals.
I mean, that's a good point. But if you can have him for cheap, I don't think that's a big issue there.
Yeah, if you can have him for cheap, go for it. I just don't think he's going to take that much of a pay cut for him to stay. So I think they're moving on.
It falls on him, honestly. If he really enjoys being a Cowboy, he loves to just where he's living in Dallas. I mean, he has it well. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys organization, they treat their players really well. You have a fantastic facility. I mean, he has his friends there. With the players like Dak, aren't they like BFFs or something? I don't know. He did make his money, and if his career, like you're saying, is in a downturn, then maybe it's just best to just stay at the place that you're not going to get paid too much money, but at least you got paid a big contract already. And I would say that should maybe be sufficient there. And just do things extra on the sides, like do appearances out there here and there. It's not like the money's just going to come from the NFL.
I doubt friendship is going to be a reason for him to stay. I'm just saying as a business perspective, and also at at a game level, you want to do the same type of game plan that other teams are implementing. For example, you have the Eagles, they have multiple running backs. You have the Patriots, they use multiple running backs. You have San Francisco, they have multiple running backs. So you don't build an offense off one brand name. That's just a way to do things now. So I doubt friendship is enough, so I think we should.
Okay, fine. You just destroyed the end of his career already.
No, I just destroyed that to what you just said. I don't think friendship is enough for...
No, I get it. I'm just saying, like, it's kind of like close to retirement and just get what you can and just be happy where you are. But if there's another team that's going to pay him a lot, which I doubt, then go for it then.
Well, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic here. So we have Bienemy. We know that he has moved on from Kansas City Chiefs and went to a new team, the Commanders. So he pretty much did a lateral move and became the offensive coordinator for the Commanders. What do you think about that? A good hire?
I've been hearing reports that Bienemy is just not a good interviewee. He has been struggling for the last few years trying to get a job, so I don't know what's going on. Either he's just terrible at interviews, which is really strange to me, or two, like people just don't believe that he actually brings anything good to the table, that it's Andy Reid that calls the plays, and he has Patrick Mahomes there. So maybe it's just that people are just not confident of what he can bring to the table.
So actually, he is an offensive coordinator and assistant head coach, according to what I'm reading. Now, he has won 2 Super Bowls with Kansas City Chiefs, and that's with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. It is shocking to me that he wasn't able to get a head coaching job. Maybe it is bad interviews. Maybe it's word of mouth between owners and coaches about his work ethic. I don't know. I just think it's strange that he hasn't been able to get a head coaching job since he has 2 Super Bowls. You know what I mean? So we have, which is a topic later on in our episode today, is Gannon. He got a head coaching job at Arizona, and he just went
season
after 2 seasons with the Eagles.
I thought it was just 1 season. Eagles.
No, it's 2 seasons with the Eagles and 1 Super Bowl appearance. So, but maybe it's just for him, for Bienemy, he is under the shadow of Andy Reid.
We'll talk about it, but I'm going to tell you it's from the 2021 season to the 2022 season. He was the defensive coordinator just 1 year.
Just 1 year?
Just 1 year.
We'll fact check it later on today. So Bienemy, he's just under the shadow of Andy Reid. I know that Andy Reid, we confirmed and we kind of talked about this, is Andy Reid does all the play calls, so maybe that doesn't help Bienemy.
Well, the strange thing, like you were bringing up, maybe there's something a little bit more that we just don't know about that's going on behind closed doors, that you're saying that teams are just talking like secretly of something that they just don't like about this guy. Because there's a lot of head coaches that come from the Bill Belichick tree, and it's not like they're just there like for years and years with the Patriots without like any experience. I mean, I'm just trying to compare here of why he's not hired and the Patriots coordinators do get hired. It's completely strange to me. So there's probably something that we don't know that he just doesn't bring to the table, or he's going to do a malfunction there. I know that he wants a head coaching job. This is a promotion. If he's an assistant head coach, that means he's going to be a sort of like a team lead type of thing for the head coaching position. So it is a promotion. It is his opportunity. Good for him. And hopefully he's successful.
I definitely think it's because the play calling, because he does that and Andy Reid does. That hurts his stock a little bit. And the word goes around that he does not do that. So by him being now with the Commanders, he is going to be the offensive play caller for the Commanders under Ron Rivera. And we might see that he makes a shot. And, under a new quarterback there, they have their Sam Howell. So I think it might be a good move for him. I know it's a lateral move and it sucks that he has to do this. I would be pissed, but...
Yeah, you're going from Mahomes to Sam Howell, which played 1 game that he looked really good against the Cowboys. Just 1 game. You're basing off of just 1 game. Are you kidding? You're going to from the Kansas City Chiefs that just won a Super Bowl. You have Mahomes there, and you're going to the Washington Commanders, and it hasn't been well at all. They're the one of the worst teams in the league. I think it's kind of a step down, but hopefully they do bring up Sam Howell, and maybe he does look like a genius. We'll see.
He's betting on himself, right? Going to the Commanders. All right, our next topic is Derek Carr visiting the Jets. We already know he went to the Saints. And now he is visiting the Jets, or he already went to the Jets. Do we think the Jets will we'll sign him. What do we think?
It's completely strange because the Jets have had numerous talks secretly about different types of quarterbacks. We've heard Stafford, we heard Garoppolo, we heard Tannehill, and now they're talking with Derek Carr. For me, Derek Carr is one of the best quarterbacks out there that is in free agency because he does put his heart and soul, kind of like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady. He does care for the game, and I truly love players like that. So I hope the Jets do sign him compared to the other quarterbacks because the only one that's better is Aaron Rodgers, and I'm not sure if people even want him there.
Yeah, I think they should do the Aaron Rodgers. He is the home run for the team. If they want to make a run at the playoffs and maybe even the championship, it's Aaron Rodgers. Go for it now. He's your golden ticket. But you can't sit around and wait for him. I don't know if he's out of his darkness retreat or if he decides to retire or if he went there because he needed clarity. I don't know where his mind's at right now. And I also don't want the Jets to miss out on someone like Derek Carr, who might not be obviously Aaron Jones, but we know that he cares.
Right.
We know that he cares to win, and maybe he won't be the person to take the Jets to the championship, but he will be the one to take them to the playoffs.
I can see the frustration in your faces. But, we did see a picture and they were all like laughing and joking around at dinner. I mean, it doesn't mean anything, of course, but it is something good, I guess, to see that Derek Carr is taking the Jets seriously, that they can actually do something. It's actually the first place that he went to compared to other teams. So who knows? I think the Jets is a good place to start off. As I think Buffalo Bills are going to go in a downtrend next season if they don't make some big time changes. I was picking them for the Super Bowl, but what I saw, I did not like at all. And now we're hearing that Stephon Diggs might be even leaving the Buffalo Bills. So there's things that you can do as a Jets organization to even creep up to that first place spot. The Miami Dolphins, I mean, do you believe in Tua? I don't. He's always injured. And if that's going to be your quarterback for the future, you're going to know that quarterback is not going to last you the whole season. So who else is left after Buffalo? Oh, the Patriots? I'm hearing reports that they're done with Mac Jones too.
That is true.
So that division is dysfunctional. And right now the Jets are building. They are building their team for the future. They have their young players. And they have really, really good players. So I think that the Jets have a good position to get a veteran quarterback and actually compete and to go into the playoffs.
We just know which veteran quarterback is the right one.
Well, it's either Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr.
No, there's Jimmy Garoppolo.
I don't think another guy that doesn't last all season.
He doesn't last, and that's what gets me as a Jets fan kind of nervous. Is if they don't sign Derek Carr because they're waiting on Aaron Rodgers, you're going to be stuck with Jimmy Garoppolo, who's a good quarterback, but again, he doesn't stay available because he's always injured. It also goes back to what is the future with the quarterback situation with Zach Wilson. Is he the quarterback for the future? Is that why they want Aaron Rodgers? Because you get Derek Carr, he's only 32 years old, so he is
you still
more long term.
You still have him for quite some time. But what we all have seen from Zach Wilson, it's kind of more, everybody's more leaning to like he's just a bust and just cut ties with him. But it's really hard for an organization that it's just been 2 years ago that he was like the second overall pick. And you're just going to cut ties with them, like really trying to figure out and trying to fix them and trying to make them better. So they don't want to be looking like that type of organization. If it was for me, I would just cut him and just, not pay him and just get somebody else, honestly. But like you're saying, it's a really good point. If they get Derek Carr, he still has a lot of prime years within him. So we'll see. The best bet, right, if they want Zach Wilson, then it would be Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers might be just playing for 1 or 2 years and then he quits or something or wants to move somewhere else. And then whatever Zach Wilson learned from him, maybe he does get better, but that's a big question mark.
Decision. All right, let's move on to our next topic. This weekend was a kickoff of the XFL, and we watched a couple of games this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and I have to say for myself, they were pretty exciting. So I don't know about you, Andy. Did you feel like the XFL was worth the watch?
If you're a football fan, I think it is football, and it's intriguing, the new rules that they have. I do like their extra point scenario that they get an extra point from doing a play on the 2-yard line, or 3 points from 2 points from the 5-yard line, and then 3 points from the 10-yard line. So that's really interesting. And then there's also the situation with the kickoff that the kicking team can't move until the team that's receiving receives the ball. So that was also interesting. I did like it. I would like to see more famous players players that I know of, but I mean, that's just something that I just have to get used to and trying to learn the new players that are there. But if you're a football fan, of course, it was actually a really good weekend. It was actually very competitive.
Yeah, it was at quarterback. What was it? AJ McCarron?
Yeah.
AJ McCarron. I think it was, I'm still getting acquainted with the teams. Was it the Battlehawks? But anyways, yeah, they came back from a trailing, I don't know, was it a touchdown maybe? And they were able to score. And then with the rule that they have there in XFL, where if you score and you convert on the extra point, you can do the 4 and 15.
No, that's not how it goes.
Yeah.
No, they score, which is 6 points for the touchdown.
6 points, then you do your extra point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either 1, 2, or 3, whatever
Right.
you decide.
Right.
And if you make that,
Yeah,
you have the
right.
option to do the 4th and 15. You keep the ball.
Exactly.
And they did.
And they did.
And they converted and they won the game,
And
which I thought.
Yeah, that was a great example of, like, if you're in the NFL and it's the other team, it's like 2-minute warning, and the other team that's trying to win doesn't have any timeouts to stop the clock, like, it's over.
Right.
And here, you still have like a fighting chance. That was pretty interesting. It was still pretty cool that they had, because they were down by, I think, like 8 points, and they were able to do it under 2 minutes. It was pretty exciting, actually.
Yeah, it was a pretty exciting game. So
what was funny is Paxton Lynch, for everybody that has seen him, that he was a first rounder for the Denver Broncos. That poor guy got benched in the XFL. So he's been benched in the NFL. I think he went to the USFL, got benched. He also played, I believe, in Canada, and he got benched there. And now he got benched in the XFL. Like, poor guy. I think he should move on to coaching or something, because football ain't working for him.
it's not working for him. Yeah.
And then what about DiNucci? What about him?
What about him? He sucks. DiNucci sucks. He's not
man,
good.
it's because he has his flashes. He was winning the game for the Seattle Dragons, I think they're called, or something like that. I don't know, but he was winning the game for them. And like you said, AJ McCarron just came out of and just turned down under 2 minutes to win the game. He has his flashes. I mean, it's the first game of the season for the XFL. Maybe he'll do better. We'll see.
It definitely gets more interesting in the XFL since at least his first 4 games that we watched. 8 games this weekend. It got interesting in the 4th.
It did get interesting.
It got interesting. Maybe it's because of the rules that they have that made the other team who was trailing have a chance. So I'm gonna keep watching. I do like football. And some of the players that I do know, Josh Gordon, DiNucci, Bryant. I'm losing his first name. Matavius Bryant. Yeah. And you have, this AJ McCarron. So I'll be watching.
Well, what about the running back? Yeah.
Oh, Balaj.
Balaj as well.
That's true, yeah. I had him in fantasy. That's the only time I really heard of him. Because I needed a running back. All right, so let's move on to our next topic. The Panthers hired Frank Reich as their head coach. In my opinion, I think it's a good hire. What do you think?
Of course, it's a great hire. It's actually the best hire of all the coaches that were hired currently right now. Frank Reich, he did a tremendous job with the Eagles. I think he was a scapegoat in the Colts for the mishandling of the owner there, and the changes of quarterbacks. They actually did have some success with Phillip Rivers as a quarterback there, but then just with Carson Wentz and then Matt Ryan, it was just a dysfunction. But I think he's a good coach, and we're actually going to be seeing that with the Panthers. I'm actually interested and pretty intrigued of what are they going to do in quarterback. Are they going to draft one, or are they going to stick with Sam Darnold? Because we've seen some flashes with Sam Darnold, but unfortunately, he's always injured, and you can't win with the guy if he's not playing on the field. So we'll see what they do at quarterback.
I do think it's a good hire. I think him and DeMeco Ryans for the Houston Texans are probably one of the best hires, I think, in my opinion. And for Frank, yeah, the defense is kind of set there in Carolina, and I think that's a good thing for him. The only thing is I want to question about the Frank Reich at the Colts is he went from being at the Eagles as an offensive coordinator, and that's why Carson Wentz was so good. Then he left the Eagles, went to the Colts, and decided to bring Carson Wentz when Doug Peterson already had benched him. So my thing or my worry is how is Frank Reich's, is that his last name?
Frank Reich.
Right. How is his eye on quarterbacks? Because he thought Carson Wentz still had it. So that's my only concern.
No, for sure. And another concern is that the Panthers don't have like cap space too. So, and then they got rid of McCaffrey, and they got rid of somebody else, and I just remember. But I mean, they still have DJ Moore, so that helps as well. But there was somebody else, but I don't remember. But yeah, it's kind of like a semi rebuild because, like you said, the defense is still a pretty decent defense, and the offensive line is pretty decent as well. They just need other weapons for whoever the quarterback's going to be.
I was still a little disappointed that they did not give their intermittent head coaching job, Steve Wilkes, a chance. Because I thought he was doing okay.
He was, actually.
So I don't like when they don't at least give them this shot. It's not like he was Jeff Saturday and only won one. But we'll see. We'll see how the NFL is. It's still a lot of time left for these teams to make their changes. So we'll see what Tepper decides to do. All right. So going on to another interesting topic, and it's with the draft, and it involves Justin Fields. Now this has come up quite a few times, and I think it's kind of crazy, but let's talk about it. Should the Bears trade Justin Fields to draft Bryce Young?
Oh man, for me, this is the main topic of the NFL draft because they have the first overall pick, and there's so many teams in the top 10 that want a quarterback, and I'm not sold on him, but Bryce Young seems to be the guy that's going to be picked first overall. But if I was the Chicago Bears, I would trade Justin Fields, get a first rounder, trade my first overall pick to either it's the Colts or the Texans and get their first round pick and more picks. That way you can pick more players and you can still draft a quarterback in this year's draft. Either it's Bryce, not Bryce Young because he'll be taken, CJ Stroud, the quarterback from Florida. Also Levis is there from Kentucky. So you do have your options there. So you can actually build from this draft if you're the Chicago Bears.
The number one pick goes to
Chicago Bears.
Okay. I would not trade Justin Fields. I would not. I would trade the number one pick. I definitely would trade the number one pick for several picks in the draft. If they're going to trade off from Justin Fields, that means you absolutely know that he's not the quarterback of the future.
Do you believe he's the quarterback of the future?
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. I'm not a scout. I mean, I liked him coming out, and I do like him more than Zach Wilson, but he has his
Everybody's
troubles,
better right now than Zach Wilson.
Okay, let's move. Stop. He is better than Zach Wilson. Yes, I know, and he had his ups and downs as well. But why would I go and risk getting Bryce Young when you also don't know how good he is?
No, you're not going to get Bryce Young because you're going to trade that first overall pick. So my thing, if I was at Chicago Bears, this is my opportunity to build for the future with so many draft picks because you're going to get a first rounder for Justin Fields, of course. And if you trade off that first overall pick to another team, you're going to get other multiple first round picks. So you're going to be building first round picks and second rounds and third rounds, whatever they give you for that first overall pick because it's a monster pick. And you can pick a quarterback, like I was telling you, that are going to be available still in the top 10. You still have 3 quarterbacks that are going to still be available. I mean, like I said.
Wait, I guess you're pretty concerned that Bryce Young's going to go number 1.
I believe
okay.
He's going to go number 1. I do believe he's going to be the number 1 overall draft pick. But then, he's going to be the number 1 draft pick, of course. But you have CJ Stroud from Ohio, like I said. You have the quarterback from Florida, Richardson. And you also have Will Levis from Kentucky. Now, for me, the best player in this upcoming draft is the defensive tackle from Georgia. He's a monster. He's the best player on this coming draft, honestly.
A little bit off topic. I read somewhere that a certain team named by the Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, are really interested in drafting CJ Stroud. So I don't know if that's fake news or what's going on, but it is something that they're watching and they're intrigued by CJ Stroud. So
I would be shocked.
I'm not shocked because they know it's time to move on from Dak Prescott.
But you're paying him too much money. He's just going to be sitting there. You're just going to create so much drama.
I don't know if he's going to be sitting there.
Well, true, but nobody's going to trade for Dak.
You don't know that.
I don't, but
There's a lot of teams that need a quarterback, and one of them is the Jets.
He's almost getting paid $50 million this season in cap space.
See, and I don't know how
the Jets.
I don't know how contracts work, so maybe they will pay half of it, or I don't know. I don't know how it happens. I don't know. I'm out of business, finance, so it can happen. So, but go ahead and look it up. That could be a topic maybe for next week that we'll talk about a little bit more about.
That's interesting. I haven't seen that report. Probably somebody just trying to make stirring the pot there or something. I don't know. But that's crazy. You can't just throw that out there for me and I'm just all confused and everything. It's shocking if that report is weird. It's true, actually.
It is true. It is true. But anyways, let's go ahead and let's move on to our next topic.
Oh, man.
Speaking on
Jeez.
quarterbacks. Daniel Jones wants $45 million a year as an extension. Will he get it? Go ahead.
Oh,
Go
man.
ahead, Andy.
I feel really rude or mean, like just laughing at this at this request, because nobody in their right minds, and only the Browns would do such a thing, honestly, or something crazy like this. But no, nobody is gonna be paying him $45 million. Are you kidding me? He's worth. Just because he's a quarterback in the NFL, do pay him $35 million, fine. But you cannot pay him $45 million a year. That's insane. And even $35 million, I cringe just listening to that and paying Daniel Jones. He did play well this last year, but that's because he just had a tremendous, great head coach. But besides that, like, no, guy. Like, be careful. Just be careful what you're requesting, and his agent. Don't make your agent mess up your career.
Yeah, this is what sucks about the quarterback market. And the market overall is like, they have one good year. And of course they want to get paid, but the quarterbacks expect to get 40 plus million a year nowadays. But in reality, Daniel Jones is probably only worth maybe 20, 25. He only did, one good year, in my opinion, which was last year. I would franchise tag him, see what he does next year. If he does good, if he doesn't, trade up for another quarterback. But he needs to prove himself one more year. He can't make those demands now.
I don't know what the Giants situation is, but if they can use their franchise tag, maybe franchise tag him, because we'll pay him like the average salary for a quarterback, and I don't know how it kind of works in his category. Maybe not the top tier, but I'm thinking it's around $35 million, honestly. So for sure, I would actually even get another quarterback in this year's draft, just so there can be some competition there, so he doesn't feel like comfortable, and I'm like the bee's knees of in this team. So, man, I would just be careful if I was him.
Being the franchise tag is not a bad deal. I mean, Cousins did it for so many times.
I feel like he's a billionaire because of all those franchise tags. Yeah,
banked it. So, but yeah, as a Giants, if I were a Giants fan, I'm not. I would want to see him prove at least one more year that he can do it again.
He did go to the playoffs, but the NFC was just trash this year. That it felt like anybody that just had some sense of urgency or some sense of just not having too many injuries and just plays a little bit better than average, you were going to be in the playoffs, honestly. Most of the NFL teams that were for the NFC were just really horrible or just all injured, unfortunately. So, like you're saying, give it one more year, get franchise tagged, and prove your worth. But don't show like this confidence in that, and thinking like, I know what I'm worth. That's BS here in this situation. Don't. Be careful.
Well, he needs to be careful with his words, and hopefully his agent has his best interest in heart. So, all right. So let's talk about, we kind of touched base on this earlier. The Arizona Cardinals hired Eagles defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon. We talked about how I said he was there for 2 seasons and made it to one appearance in the Super Bowl and now is a head coaching job, versus Bienemy, who had to do a lateral move. So, is this a good hire for the Arizona Cardinals?
For me, the Arizona Cardinals are a dysfunctional team. They extended Cliff Kingsbury and then fired him right after the season. And then they also extended Kyler Murray, and he has been some trouble for them as well, putting some interesting situations with their clause that he needs to study more. And he plays too much video games. And now you're hiring a coordinator that has only been a coordinator for the Eagles for 1 year. That is very an uneasy hire. Even though he did a good job with that defense, I still would be very hesitant to really just give him the head coaching job just like that.
He was there for 2 years.
I'm seeing here 1 year.
He was there for 2 years. He got hired in 2021. So that means all 2021.
Okay. And
all of 2022. And now he's the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah, I don't know if Arizona knows how to hire head coaches, honestly. This guy, he was on there for 2 years. Granted, the defense was good for the Eagles, and he did, or as a team collectively, went to the Super Bowl for 1 appearance. I think he might do okay. I don't think Arizona, the talent is there. Kyler Murray is a talented quarterback. And if they keep Connor on there, and if they keep, I know they're trying to look maybe to trade away DeAndre Hopkins, but if they manage to stay with that wide receiver, that team's a good team. They have, what's his name? Baker on the defensive side. Is it right. Baker? Buddy Baker?
Yeah.
So that's also a good defense. He got a good team. It's just the organization that's kind of messed up. With the GM, I don't know where he is. Is he back? Is he fired? Is he still on leave? The one that got pinned his sexual assault on another coach on there. And
well, we don't know that for a fact. That's just the report.
Allegedly. I don't know if he's on leave. I don't know if they moved on, if there's a new GM. I don't know.
I think he stepped out. No, he stepped out. If you remember, for personal health issues, supposedly.
Yeah, he's on leave.
He
stepped down.
Well, I guess, yeah, I don't know, honestly.
But overall, my final opinion is this team is a good team. He got a good team, and I think he will do okay. At least the first season. We'll see how the second season comes around for him, because that's when the final print of his head coaching goes on to the team. So,
and my apologies, I do see here that he was hired in 2021. It just seems how they just put it here on the website that he was hired for the 21-2022 season, and now he's going somewhere in the 2023 season. It just got me a little confused. But yeah, he's been the defensive coordinator for the Eagles for 2 seasons. So
long story short, it's Bienemy who got,
Well, again, with Bienemy, there's something that people just don't know. Maybe we'll find out later when future interviews, if there's some type of situation that the reasons why he didn't get hired. Maybe he says things that get you blacklisted in a way. But the Commanders, for some reason, and we all know that the Commanders are also a dysfunctional team. They have an owner that just has been making very questionable moves, and there are some things that are like behind the scenes that are just, I don't know, just things. I think they're going through lawsuits and things like that right now. And then the owner was like telling, I guess saying that he was going to be saying a lot of things about the commissioner and the other owners. It's just a really bad place to be.
I call bull. Something's going on that we don't know. Something's going on. Why wouldn't they just call Andy Reid and ask him, like, what do you reckon? What do you think about this guy? He was been under you for X amount of years. What do you think?
Why do you think they didn't?
Well, why wouldn't they?
No, well, I would think they do, and I think Andy Reid just talks great about him.
Then?
But again, these conversations, just because he gets a recommendation from Andy Reid doesn't mean that he's going to get hired.
I don't know.
There's something going on that I'm telling you that there's a reason why this guy doesn't get hired.
I read somewhere that, what's the name? What's Sirianni?
The Eagles head coach?
Sirianni.
Mm-hmm.
Sirianni, I'm sorry if I'm butchering that name. He called Andy Reid and asked him what he thought about Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
And Andy Reid said, I do like him. He's a good quarterback. But Sirianni felt comfortable asking Andy Reid because he knew he wasn't searching for a running back, which I found that a little weird. So because he liked him...
Wasn't searching for a quarterback.
Quarterback, correct. Since he said he was a good quarterback, they drafted him. The Eagles drafted him. So, I mean, the communication's there. That's what I'm trying to make.
But that doesn't mean they have to listen to him in every single decision.
I know. It's just... We'll see. We'll see how this plays on.
It's been years that he's been getting head coaching interviews, and he just doesn't get hired.
He doesn't get it. I know. I feel like I smell there's a lawsuit coming.
No.
I feel like there's a Brian Flores.
It's not a Brian Flores situation because Brian Flores was a head coach, and they told him that you have to tank, and he wasn't about that. It was a totally different situation here. And I mean, we also worked at corporations, and we know how sometimes there's an employee that just doesn't get promoted. Honestly, this is a promotion for him because he's going to be an assistant head coach. But there's just one employee that people just don't like. And even though it shows like he does a good job, that doesn't mean that he's just going to get promoted. There's other factors involved.
Well, good luck to the new hires for this season. Can't wait. Still a long ways to go until the whole season starts, which I'm excited for, but we'll see what all this off-season news brings us. Be a lot of exciting moves.
Yeah. There's just one more thing that I want to bring up before you close up the episode. I just assessing how the free agency is going to go. I truly feel that the Cleveland Browns are the inflation of the NFL with the quarterback contract they give to Deshaun Watson. Because now Lamar Jackson wants that type of money. And there's other players that have reported that they would love to have that type of money. So it's going to encourage other players to do so. And now the Ravens are in a battle with Lamar Jackson because of that inflation that the Cleveland Browns did. So in a way, I'm secretly kind of rooting for the Ravens to, I guess, bring Lamar back to earth a little bit with that kind of money, because with the cap situation that each team has, they need to figure out how to pay him a lot of money, but not to go overboard. because then it puts the team into handcuffs, just like how the U.S. economy is right now. Everything is so expensive, but people can't just be spending too much or buy properties or anything like that because of how expensive everything is. So I think the Cleveland Browns are the inflation of the NFL.
They could be the inflation of the NFL. They could be the reason why their prices are being driven up so much. I just don't know if there's such thing as a correction that happens in the NFL where essentially there's a quarterback that crashes the market or creates a correction in the quarterback or the players market. So I don't know if it's
you
the
went
same.
to economy.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know if there's such thing that could happen. But hopefully there is a correction that does bring people down.
The only thing that the only thing that I saw that could be sort of a correction is how Patrick Mahomes, he got a team, I guess, like a helpful team contract. Because it's like a 10-year contract, and the guarantee each year is minuscule in order for the team to be able to use more cap space to get more players. Correct.
Yeah. So Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, they're kind of the greats of the world are able to do that.
Well, Tom Brady, because he already got paid like so much money, like he's set. So yeah, I mean, I applaud him still, even though he still got his like first contracts and still got paid like a lot of money, plus his endorsements and everything. And now he can feel like, you know what, I can take less money, so the team that can be successful and we can win Super Bowls. And of course, it worked for him. And for Patrick Mahomes, I believe like this is his first big time contract that he got a year ago. So, or a year or two ago. So it is a situation that it shows and that you can actually have a big time guaranteed money, but also help the team out.
Yeah, I think it takes a
Look at the situation with Dak Prescott with the Cowboys. His agent, which I applaud for him. I mean, I'm all for players to get it paid. Well, I mean,
everyone's
go get your worth.
Paid, not just the players.
Not just the players. But they did it for 4 years. So now the Cowboys are in a situation that they have Dak Prescott is the second biggest player with a cap hit, because now again, Deshaun Watson is the number one player that is hitting the cap space for the Cleveland Browns. That's why I'm saying it's the inflation there. But like I said, Patrick Mahomes did like a 10-year contract, and compared to Dak Prescott, which is a 4-year, getting so much money each year.
Again, it depends on, and it takes a special player to do so. Patrick Mahomes maybe was okay taking a 10-year contract because of all the publicity and promotions that he gets. State Farm, that comes to my head. I don't know, Bose headsets. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he is going to get those. Mm-hmm. He is going to get those opportunities, and right. Someone like, I mean, if you're a Cowboys quarterback, you are going to get those opportunities. But someone like Daniel Jones, he's going to try to get his money now because State Farm's not knocking on his door.
I understand that. So, I mean, for Daniel Jones, he just has to be creative. But I just wanted to say how the teams and the owners, unfortunately, I know it's a business. As a fan of the NFL, I do want to see teams succeed and get better. There was a comment I believe in one of our videos for Instagram that somebody said that we picked the Chiefs to be the Super Bowl winners for next year's Super Bowl. But somebody said, well, don't sleep on the Lions. They're going to be great next season. And I really, really hope the Lions do great, because they haven't been past the second round in ages, and I haven't even seen them in an NFC championship or anything like that, or even close to it. So I would love for these teams to just get better and be new teams instead of the same teams going up to get that championship.
Yeah, and our pick on obviously the Super Bowl picks is too early to pick. I think we just all chose the Kansas City Chiefs because that's the safest pick right now.
Well, I picked Buffalo. Last year.
No. I'm talking about right now.
No, I'm saying last year I picked Buffalo. I wasn't so safe.
We talked about this 2 weeks ago on who we think is going to win Super Bowl 2024, right. And we all three of us said Kansas City Chiefs. Mm-hmm. I think it's just a safe way to choose because we just saw them and they played really good, but I don't think they're going to run it back. It's too early. It happened to us last year. We thought, yeah, the Rams are gonna be in it, and we all chose the Rams right after the Super Bowl, and it just does not happen. Mm-hmm. It's somebody else. It might be Buffalo. It might be the Jets. It might be the Lions. It might be the Cowboys. We'll see. The NFC, for me, it's wide open. Anyone can take it.
Remove the Cowboys from.
Removed. Easy. You have to convince me twice. Anyways, anything else to add?
No, that's all. It's my small rant for this episode.
Awesome. Well, this concludes our podcast episode. Thank you for those who stick to the end. Thank you, and we appreciate all of you. We have our socials. Andy, go ahead and share our socials, please.
Yeah, you guys can find us in Football Tailgaters in YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, and we would love to hear your comments.
Yeah, send us shout outs. We love to hear from you guys. All right, thank you so much.